We're going to do another questions and answers session, only this is more like an interview. Lindsley here will be asking some questions because she had a lot of questions for me, and I thought, why not record them so I can put them on. Again, just in case someone new has clicked on and wants to listen, always remember that there is more than one truth. So what we're going to hear today is simply what I learned from the thousands of personal sessions that I've given, and the higher self of each person has given the answers. But it doesn't mean that this is the only way it is. Always keep this in mind. Do not waste energy disagreeing with someone. It's too much energy. You can use that energy to do something else for yourself instead of disagreeing with other people. Okay, Lindsley. As I said, I might repeat the question you ask. Not that I didn't understand you, it's just that sometimes as I repeat the question, I'm getting the answer automatically from whoever it is it's channeling.
What problem have you come across that people have the most difficulty with in their lives?
You mean when I'm giving sessions, right?
Yes.
I would have to say taking their power back. So many of us are so afraid of taking our power back. And in the beginning, I thought it was because in many lives when we did have power, we misused it. Some people still have this problem. They're afraid they will misuse their power, so they don't take it. They don't bring it out, so they can, in our words, better their lives. Of course, we haven't come here to just better our lives, but to take charge of their life. They don't take their power back. In a minute, I'll say where we've given our power to, and I keep saying take it back. But most people do not take their power back because if they do, then they become fully responsible for their lives, and then they cannot whine anymore. They cannot complain anymore. And we love complaining. Humans love complaining and love focusing on what is wrong first and then what is right. All this in the hope that we might be loved. Now, where do we give our power? First of all, our parents. We need their love, so we give them our power. We say, yes, I'll do whatever you want, just love me. Yes, I will take on your pain, just love me. Many children do take on their parents' pain so they can have love. Some of them do it unconsciously. We don't do it consciously. Sometimes the thought of like, I will hurt for you, mommy or daddy, because I want you to love me. And we need to take our power back from our parents. We also need to take our power back from our lovers, ex-lovers, boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, wives, because for the same reason as our parents, we give our power to them so they can love us. We will agree with them in the beginning of the relationship, even though we really don't agree. But because we need their love and approval, we will agree. We will eat things we don't like because they like. We will live a certain way that is not for us because that's what they want. And because we need their approval, or we need them to stay in the relationship or in the house. That's how we give our power away. And most people have a very hard time taking it back, because they're simply afraid that they might be alone if they take it back. And in many cases it is true. You're not lonely, but you do spend more hours alone, simply because you're not seeking for constant validation and constant approval. So it's okay if you're alone a few hours or a few days. You don't run out to meet friends constantly so that you can constantly have their approval. There's so much to this, because taking back our power is what can catapult us to the next dimension, to our next evolutionary step. But a quick answer to your question is, the most difficult part, I would say, for us people, as humans, that I have discovered so far in my work is taking back one's power.
leading on from that, what's the most simplest answer that you could give to someone to show them how they could take their power back and keep it?
What I usually do is I get their soul, I get them to ask their soul, touch me and show me how I will feel if I take back my power. And they do get touched by their soul, right in the center of their chest, deep inside their chest. And they just love this feeling. And then I say, okay, now we need to take it back. And we usually choose parents first or ex-lovers. And if the people are, this might sound like a judgment, but I just have to say it the way it is. If I notice that the people have a higher IQ, I would tell them to take it back from their current lovers as well. And that way, they will be with their lover or spouse because they want to be, not because they've given them their power and there's this karmic tie that ties them there. An easier way to take back your power, let's see. Personally, I started taking it back, although I got this information from someone else, I didn't discover it. I started taking it back by saying to myself every now and again, I have come to earth only for me. And sometimes I do say that to the clients as well, to say that to themselves. I have come to earth for my lessons only. Many people think if we say I have come to earth only for me, it means I don't care about anybody else. But if you can reach the point where you only care for you, you won't need to care about anybody else. Because one of the biggest reasons we care about other people is, again, because we need their approval. We need their love. Now, this doesn't mean you're going to have a baby and throw it out the street because you're going to say, oh no, I don't care. We need to be a little bit logical here. We're talking about going out of your way to care and care and care all the time. That is when we do it for approval. So I would recommend keep saying to yourself, I have come to earth for my lessons only. And then your energy changes, your vibration changes, you're more centered, and then it will be easier for you to take back your power.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
When people ask you, how do I become a good psychic? What would you say to them?
I think I've mentioned this in many seminars. I always tell them the difference between a psychic and a good psychic is the good psychic trusts him or herself. It's really that simple. There is no method, there is no exercises, there are no exercises that you can do. Sure, practice makes perfect, as we say. It's not so much that it makes perfect, practice makes you faster because you start understanding what your guides usually use for a certain word, what image they would use or what feeling they would use. And you start recognizing it faster as you do more and more sessions. So of course, the more sessions you do, you become a faster psychic. But to be a good psychic, good with human languages, because in reality there is no good or bad. All you have to do is trust. Just simply trust. Stop doubting. There are too many very good psychics out there. Anybody can be a psychic, by the way. Anybody. It's just that some people have done it in so many lives, it comes naturally. And you might not have done it in this life till 30, 40, 50, and then suddenly get into it and connect with the previous lives where you did do it. And you become good much, much faster. That does help. But nevertheless, everybody gets gets messages from the universe. The universe does not say, I'm only going to talk to psychics. That's just ridiculous. But the difference between a psychic and a good psychic is the good psychic always trusts what he or she sees or feels and always says it. No questions asked.
You believe that we have several lives simultaneously. Could you elaborate on that, please?
I've mentioned in the seminars so many times that we live our lives simultaneously. I would have to use the same analogy that I used in the seminar we did here last week. This is a little difficult. First, we have to explain that all time exists at the same time. But you know what, Lindsley? We did this, and it's going to be exactly the same as what we did in the seminar last week. And I don't want repetition on YouTube, because if they get bored, they click off, and then they don't go to the other ones. It'll be exactly the same explanation.
Okay. That kind of kills the next question.
Oh, it does? What was the next question about?
But if someone needed to do something out of their current knowledge in this lifetime,
Yes.
could they connect to a lifetime where they perhaps had that knowledge
Yes, they
and
could.
harness it?
Okay, it doesn't kill it. We can ask that question. If someone... Okay, let's say I wanted to become... I'm going to use the word chef so I can explain what had happened to me. Okay, let's say I would like to become a chef. No, first I'm going to say the story. I was about 40, 41. By the way, I've never cooked in my life. Never cared. When I was about 40, 41, I had started looking at cooking books when I was going to the bookstore, walking by stores that sold kitchen stuff, like cooking stuff, and look at them, and even walked in one of them, I remember. And I was looking at them as if I was going to buy them. I had no idea how to even use them. And then I was talking to my higher self about a week later. This went on for at least a week. And I asked my higher self, what's up with me and the cooking lately? And the answer was, another part of you that is a chef. At this moment of your times, both of you are on a very similar frequency. And because you're on a very similar frequency, you are channeling into, you are connecting into each other's energies. So when the cook was thinking, what should I cook today? And what should I cook it in? This thought was bleeding through into you, into your energy. And since you happened to be walking by a store that sold stuff for cooking, it stopped. You stopped and you took a look. And you took a look with the same interest that he would take a look at it. So this is another part of me, but it could be another simultaneous life as well. Because all time exists at the same time, all lives are happening in the now. We say past lives, but they're really all happening at once, because time is a place. All time exists at the same time, and depending on what decisions you make in the now, you can change your future, which already exists, but you change it. Now, so if you would like to become, let's say, a politician, you can quieten your mind, focus on you, just you. Focus in the chest area where the heart chakra is, and say to your body, you're really saying it to your soul, but say to your soul, I would like to connect with the politician part of me or of us. However, you are your soul. We're not separate. It's just that on earth we're playing the duality game still. So it's me and my soul, but it's really you're one. You and your soul is one. Let me say something about that in 1 second. So yes, if you want to be a dancer, if you want to be a musician, keep saying to yourself, I want to connect with the part of me that always expresses through music, because we are very big. We have many, many parts. Or with the part of me that always expresses through writing, if you want to be a writer. You can connect with that part and get inspiration from that part. I want to go back to, I said we're all one. I mean, we are our soul. When I first got into these things, I happened to go out for coffee with a friend, and the friend ordered a mocha with froth on top. Mocha is, I think they use it in England, don't they?
Yes.
They have a mocha. Okay. The glass came, and the minute I saw the glass with the mocha drink, something inside said, look at that. That is you. The coffee, because the chocolate, because it's heavier, it goes down the bottom. that is you. The coffee part that stays above the chocolate is the higher self. And then the white part on the top, the cream, because it's even lighter, is, let's say, the higher self's higher self, or the core of your soul. But it's all one drink. It's just the vibration that separates it. And we think it's me, like the chocolate and the coffee on top of me. It's not. It's just that your vibration is a little more dense because you're physical. But you are all one. So if you can imagine that mocha drink where once you look at the glass you see 3 different colors in there, sometimes 4 depending on what they put in there. That is exactly how we are. And it's simply the vibration that separates us. And we think it's separate. But we're not separate. We are our soul. Okay.
I heard you mention you write your own book.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yes. Before we come to Earth, because there is a veil around Earth, so that we can forget where we came from in order to play the Earth game properly. Properly meaning, what will I do when I don't know who I am? That was one of the original thoughts that started the Earth game. We wanted to know, what would we do if we don't know who we are? So we had to put a veil around our dimension, our reality, to block out the other realities that exist. So we come here so-called blind. And because we come here blind, we need a book for our guides to look at and kind of nudge us to stay on our path. Like kind of push us towards the way that will help us learn what we want to learn. So we write a little book that says, for instance, I want to be born with these parents. I want to be born in this country. I want this sex, male or female. This lifestyle. I want to like these things and dislike these things. Of course, we're not talking about liking chocolate or disliking oranges. We're talking about things that will give us certain life lessons. Like, for instance, someone might dislike children because he wants to make sure that he stays without children or stays single so that he can do other things which maybe he didn't do in previous lives because he had children. So he figures, okay, in this time I'm going to dislike children so that I can focus on what I didn't learn in the previous life. Or dislike certain languages, the way languages sound, so he can stay away from that country to learn something else that he wanted to learn, but for whatever reason was pulled toward that country. And then our guides who come with us look at the book constantly, look at what page you're on, or they could even flick pages when you're trying to make a decision, and then encourage you to go with the decision or guide you towards a path that blocks whatever it was you wanted to do. For instance, many people might want to, let's say, move to London. We all know London is happening, but if it's not for you, you're going to waste time in London. So they will kind of guide you to a path that will block London for you. And you might think, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I make it work? Why can't I make it in London? It's simply because you're not really meant to be here. London doesn't have anything for you. It sounds good to the mind. It might sound good professionally. Yes, but what if you've come to experience something else? This is why sometimes things we want get blocked, and we don't know why they are blocked. We think we're doing something wrong. But we're really not. Simply sometimes it isn't meant to be. That's why we've come up with the saying, if it's meant to be, it will be. Because your guides really will push you towards going there and making it work for you and staying there. In my case, I came to London last year because I wanted to do business, mostly business sessions. And of course, where else would I go? London, the capital of business. And it wasn't meant to be, so things weren't working for me. So after 4 months, I left again. This year I came to London, and I see my higher self saying, this year it will be different, we're going into business. And I said, well, I went to London last year for business too. Yes, but last year was not our time. So there is a right time for everything. Obviously, between last year and this year, I've learned more, and maybe this is what makes this the right time. It could also be something else. We don't always see everything. Even though we want to see everything, we don't always see what might be blocking us. And this time, London is working better for me, because it looks like this is the right time. So I guess I put London in my book.
Okay.
I don't know how else to describe the book. It's like when you go for vacation to a big city like New York, and you write down all the museums you want to go to, or all the buildings you want to go and see. You write them down simply so you can tick them off the list. That's exactly how our life book is.
But it also includes some very nasty things that we choose to experience.
Not some, all. Not some nasty things, all the nasty things that have happened to us, we chose to experience them. A soul is not stupid. It is infinite intelligence. So if something nasty happens to us, there's something our soul wanted to experience through this. Usually it is the feeling of being trapped, because the soul is always free. Free. So it attracts situations where you are trapped. Like you might be in a job you don't like, and at the same time totally broke, where you can't leave that job right now because you don't have a penny if you left the job. Because the soul wants to experience this feeling of entrapment and wants to see, what will I do if I get there? If I am in a corner, if I'm cornered. Most people are in a marriage that want to get out, but they can't. It's because their soul wanted to see, what will I do if I'm trapped in a marriage with children and I can't just walk out? I just can't do it. I can't bring myself to do it. What will I do? Is there another way? Will I come up with another way? So all these things, most times I've noticed that what the soul wants to experience from these unhappy things that are in our life, because I always tell the client, ask your soul, what's the true meaning of this? It's not that I'm in a bad marriage. That doesn't work. That is not enough. What do you want to learn from this? And I always get a similar answer, something like, I wanted to see what it was like not being free. Some clients would say. Other clients would answer, I wanted to see what it would be like feeling trapped. So all the nasty things we've put in our book, yes. All of them. That's why sometimes in order to feel trapped, first you fall in love. And you say, this has to be right because I feel so good. Because getting married and having children is for the mentally disabled. It's for the mentally insane. It really is. There is absolutely no logic to this institution. So the soul says, oh, don't worry, I'm going to put love in there, and then you don't need logic. Because the way you feel when you're in love, no one thinks logically. I feel good, that's all there is to it. I don't need logic to this. So this will drive you into an institution we call marriage. Children supposedly, they've come up with some beautiful lines. Something like, first we had each other, then we had you, then everything was perfect. Something like that for the baby. Any excuse to convince themselves that having a baby is the right thing to do. But you see, without these feelings, if we didn't feel this passion for someone, we would not be led into being trapped in a marriage. And that's what the soul wants to learn. The soul doesn't want to learn from you being in love. Big whoopee. I can do that in the universe. But I need something to lead me to feel trapped. And then see, what will I do? Will I just sit and take it all my life? There's nothing wrong with that. Because life is very short compared to infinity. We live forever. Will I make a deal? Will I deal with it in a classy way, with class? Will I blame the other person because I don't want to look in? Because it's never the other person's fault. But we always blame the other person so that we won't look in, so that we won't ask questions. So yes, all the nasty things that happen in our life are in our book. Yes, totally in our book. This doesn't mean we cannot change them. But in order to change them, first we have to understand that we are in charge of our lives. And as you understand this, the book becomes obsolete. The reason we have the book is because we are blind. But once you start seeing, the book is an old map. It just doesn't, it's not useful anymore. Okay, anything else?
Yes. Will leaders of religious groups or cults be exposed for their false behaviour in that they repress their followers or take their money?
They will be exposed, but not because they're doing something like what we call bad. Religious leaders of cults or politicians, for instance, they'll be exposed only, excuse me, only because we are going into an energy that is becoming see-through. What do you call it? Not opaque.
Clear.
Clear, thank you, Da. Because we're going into an energy that is clear and everything can be seen. Give me 1 second. Thank you. This is the only reason they are going to be exposed. See, there was a veil around us for so long, and now the veil is coming down, and now all the lies are coming to the surface. But they're not going to be exposed because they did something that we call bad. They have given people the opportunity to give up their power. And if you've never given up your power and then taken it back, you don't know how valuable it is, how precious it is. And you won't be able to assist others in taking back their power afterwards. One of the reasons I think I'm very good at assisting people at taking back their power is because I had given it to my father for 27 years. And then I took it back. So, had I not given it to my father for 27 years, I would not know its value right now. I really wouldn't. So I wouldn't be very good at assisting people to take back their power, because I would have no experience of what it was like to giving it up. And it wouldn't be as sweet as it is now that I hold on to my power. So yes, these leaders of cults give people the opportunity to give up their power so that they could then take it back and be more whole, and be whole and wise. Whole with experience. Experience is what makes us grow as a soul. Nothing but experience. And having given up our power is an experience that you can't learn in the rest of the beautiful universe. I'm sure there must be other planets like Earth as well. There must be, because the universe is so big. But very, very, very few places where people will give up their power. And a soul does not calm down until it takes its power back. It will come back lifetime after lifetime, meeting the same people it gave its power to give it opportunities to take it back. So many times we take back our power from someone that we've given to 3 or 4 or 5 lifetimes ago, and we still have not taken it back. One little example. My mother with my father. She had given him his power in other lives of what we saw now. We didn't know when we were kids. I'm saying we because a lot of my brothers and sisters are into this as well. So we talk, right? Because my father had left her in many lives, and she was like hanging on and hoping he'll come back, and that's giving up your power, thinking the other person is going to make me happy. So in this life, she left him, and that's how she took back her power from all those lifetimes that he had left her. The problem wasn't that he had left her. The problem was that she thought that without him, she could not live. I remember we saw one life, again, they were husband and wife, and he was leaving, and she was on the ground holding onto his leg. This is simply saying, I can't live without you. You make me happy, you make me whole. That's what the problem was. That's how she gave up her power. And in this lifetime, the funny thing is, she waited till he lost all his money and then left him. And he was old as well. Just when, you need, like after 31 years, she said, okay, the children have left now, goodbye. Even though he had a very big house and property, she didn't take anything, she didn't ask for anything, because all her soul wanted was to take back her power. It's situations like that. And then she found peace. Like my mother is totally different now than what she was the 31 years she was married. Now she has an inner peace. Even though she lived very well because my dad had money, she lived very well for those 31 years. But that wasn't the thing. The thing was her taking back her power. Any more questions, Lindsay?
Well, no, I don't have at the moment, but I would like to thank you very much for these insights that you've given us.
Anytime.
And love to do this again.
Okay, get the questions and we will do it again. Let me turn this off. Good, Lindsay. 32 minutes. Why is it still, you know what, it's not turned off.